my dear student, welcome to English class. I am your English teacher Sumon Chakma. So today we are going to study a poem. This is the lesson prescribed in class 9 English course book, MBSE. Okay, so the poem titled A Tiger in the Zoo. This poem is very famous poem. This poem is very popular. It has been prescribed in different boards in several classes. In CBSE, it is prescribed in class 10, and in Mizoram boards, we have to study in class 9. Okay, the poem deals about the pitiable conditions of a tiger inside a zoo, where he cannot roam freely. He is confined to this small area. Okay, so without wasting any time, let us start with our poem. Okay. A Tiger in the Zoo. This poem talks about the pitiable conditions of the tiger inside a zoo. So here, this poem is about the pitiable conditions of the tiger inside a zoo. So how the animals are kept inside a zoo? Animals are confined inside a cell, small cell. Okay, they have very minimum space to roam inside the cage. In other words, the poet wanted to say that the animals, or in this case, the tiger, is the victim of human cruelty. Humans are so cruel that they ignore the happiness, they ignore the freedoms of the wild animal. Okay, so that is why they have kept the animals inside the cage, or the tiger inside the cage, to be displayed to the public. Okay, to earn some money. Poeto sipura hatte tiger bora je jinokke naide hoyto naide jagat thoyon thare. Okay, very pitiful condition. Mone ole naide bere noarer mone ole je mone sin guri noarer he noarer. The poet Leslie Norris has deep sympathy due to the unpleasant situation of the tiger who is imprisoned in a cell made of concrete. The freedoms are snatched away from the wild animals. In the wild, they can roam freely. They have the full freedom. They can do whatever they think. They can do whatever they feel like. Okay, but inside the zoo, they cannot do the same. They cannot roam freely. So their space is limited. It is not sufficient for their survival. A poem mode. যে টাইগার বনাই দে যারা তো আনিয়া নাই নাই দে চিড়িয়াখানা ভিতরে একা সিগন নাই দে হাজা ভিতরে থইনি তে থাইও বেরিনো আরে এসে সিগন নাই দে হাজা ভিতরে কাকো নাই দে হয় কইত বারেলে তা জায়গা আনসে জয় ওকে তে সিতুম ভারান যে নো আরে The poet suggests that the case is not proper place for the tiger as it is not its natural habitat. No animal or human being can survive inside a cage. Okay? আমিও থাই নোৱাৰিব অন্য এনিমেলৰ কথা বাদ কৰি নে ইকো মানুহ নাই দে ইকো সিগন পিঞ্জিৰি ভিতৰে থাই নোৱাৰিব isn't it? That is not the natural habitat. ইকো নাই দে হনজনে নাই দে সে হাজাৰ লৈ বানিয়ে হাজাৰ ভিতৰে নাই দে থাই নোৱাৰিব okay? Sinote animal nore thona osit noy hote poem motru di poet hote animal nore hasa bidire thona osit no hite thara freedom nai de bekan nai de dongso guri de jana hoidi tamane thara freedom harilo na hoidi they cannot roam freely, they cannot hunt freely, they cannot eat freely. There are some zoos where animals are kept very pitiable conditions. If you ever have been to a zoo, you can realize the pitiable conditions of the animals, how they are kept. Tarare hanging tozai ikonai de hazabidri. Okay, they have no proper shelter, they have no proper natural habitat for them. Animal on zoo bidre hanging thon naide hazabidri thon luo hazabidri chion naide jaga tarar ese sigon jaga not naide bezo bere no aron tara e hoy kuit purele naide sejoy ta mane hi both naide tara pritoman harilo ni loi naide manitu nehi goron animal nara si pura no he bade na de tara haja bidre boriton just for small pleasure. Okay, just for little pleasure or just for their little happiness, freedom of the animals are sacrificed. Or hana konsogoso guri bala mane chuni na de animal nore eto hoytop jagat na de thone thoi na de tara freedom on hariloi lai na de zoo bidire bore thonne. Through the example of this tiger, Leslie Norris or the poet wanted to show the pitiable conditions of the animals kept inside the zoo. As you can see here, in a zoo, the tiger was the limited space provided in the cage. So the cage is very small for a tiger. Okay. In the wild, a tiger's habitat is very huge. It has a huge territory. It dominates a huge territory. The tigers are territorial in nature. Okay, tigers and other wild animals. Most of the animals territorial. Okay, they dominate a vast area of land. Okay. Through this poem, the poet is trying to make realize the people about the tiger who is sitting in the cage and feeling unpleasant and restless. So a poem mo through the naide, manituno naide, monot naide, izu naide, sympathy zage tuli divalai, Leslie Norris naide poem mo like, ze naide hinoke, pitiable condition of tan, animalon, zoo bidre. Banai tiger bono, or no animal no, no ta condition, same condition. Okay. This all these animals are meant to be in the wild. They are not meant to be kept inside the cage. Iko tiger, iko lion, ba iko na the elephant. Hasabi diri na de bore tobar zini no. If you really want, if you really want to keep animals with you, you can keep the domesticated animal, cows, pigs, okay, dogs, and all. Captivating the wild animals and keeping them inside a cage is a very cruel task. Okay, according to the poet Leslie Norris, he wanted to convey the message that, or he wanted to give the message that animal cruelty should be stopped. Okay, wild animal should not be kept inside the zoo. Okay, in short, this poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, is about a tiger who is kept inside a cage. Okay, in a zoo, and the tiger is kept in a very pitiful manner. Okay, he has very limited space. He cannot roam freely. And the poet expresses sympathy towards this pitiful tiger. And he wished that the tiger would have been walking freely in the wild, hunting deers, okay, terrorizing villages, and roaming freely without any fear, in full freedom. Okay, next, let us go to the poem A Tiger in the Zoo. See the first stanza. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He at the very outset of the poem, at the very first line, we learn that the tiger is taking steps. Stalks means he's stalking. He's walking very slowly. He's taking very slow steps in in his vivid strip. Vivid means very bright, bright strip. So, tiger skin is strips. Okay, it has two bright color, vivid strips. Dark green and there's a tiger was skin and tie. Bago skinan je na de dag ese ni re vivid means very bright ekdom putputte gurin dega jay. Okay, so not the vivid strip. The few steps of its cage. Why few steps? Because the tiger cannot take more steps. Okay, the tiger cannot go beyond the boundary of the cage. Okay, banana de cage na de bidire je taman jaga age hoy kutpure la na de sai joy. Se jaga je hoy chinote few steps of his cage. Ta cage na de cage bidire ba haja ba bidire hoy na de huit barele sai joy jaga chinote few steps of his cage. Okay, on pads of velvet quiet. On pads of velvet quiet means the pads or the paws of the tiger is very soft. Okay, ekdom norom na de. In the wild also, while the tiger is hunting, the tiger takes very soft steps. Okay, he doesn't make any sound before hunting. Okay, very quiet. They crawl very quietly, or they take steps very quietly on because of their very soft paws. Thara ado hoda ni naide bago ado hoda an belbeto habor doken norom naide compare gochu dayo. In his quiet race. Why quiet race? Because he is angry. He is in very much anger. He wanted to show the anger. Tar rag hoite tar rakan bakolote both naide rag. Very ferocious animal, isn't it? A tiger is a very ferocious animal. Okay, it cannot be captivated very easily. So inside the cage also, he is very angry. The tiger is very angry. But he kept quiet. He is subdued because he cannot do anything inside the cage. Hazabo bidire hichu guri noare. Rag le yon ide rakan degi noare te. Senote jojo gurine nade tar nade jojo gurine nade bana hay koj barate cage bidire te. Okay. See the next stanza. He should be lurking in the shadows, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plume deer pass. Te? Poito hote. Okay? Instead of walking inside the cage, the tiger should be free in the wild. He should be hunting prey, just like the plume deer. He should be lurking in the shadows. He should be hiding in the shadows or sliding in the shadows. Okay, what makes the tiger so ferocious? It is because of his sharp white teeth and deadly claws. Okay, so in addition to that, the tiger is very agile. It is very strong. Okay, so that is why it has been said in the poem, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws. It is very obvious that if we happen to know that there is a tiger near our locality or inside our locality, everybody will be afraid of it, isn't it? So that is why, so the tiger should be snarling around the jungle edge. He should be snarling around houses. The freely মানে যেরকম যে normally না দি বেড়াইতে tiger বউ গড় হুরে হুরে নাই দি আদামো হুরে হুরে যারান যে বেড়াইতে সেখানে বেড়ে বেড়ে নাই দি থেদ bearing his white fangs ta দাঁতুন আর নাই দি ta নকুন দেখে দেখে কোদা আদামানরে নাই দি tiger উদর লাগে দ but he is locked in a concrete cell কিন্তু সে জিনিসটা নাই দি হিচ্ছু গুরি নোয়ারে. In this case, that sort of things cannot be done because the tiger is locked inside the concrete cell. Tiger bo iko concrete naide bakso bidire ba concrete haza bidire naide bore toyon. Sanote tiger bo freedom man nei. Ta jien mone ase nguri noare. Okay. So let us move to the fourth stanza. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. His strength, Tarzan naide bolan, bekan naide je haja bidire roje goi, baradi hichu bolle noarera. Okay, he cannot display his strength. Okay, you cannot show the real strength of the tiger inside the cage. Okay, inside the bars. Because that is why his strength is behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage. What he can do, so without showing this strength, he can just walk on the edges of his cage. Okay, thang nade haza bo hure hure gune beri bharate কিন্তু থা বলান নাই দে actual নাই দে capacity actual নাই দে strength and actual নাই দে freedom and নাই দে dege noarate. So that is why the tiger is stalking only the edges of his cage, ignoring visitors. Visitor nore nare the ignore gore mane hichu নাই দে attention no dette because the tiger is very much distressed and in a very pitiable condition, so he is ignoring the visitors. He heard the last voice at night, the patrolling car. So যেকেনে নাইদি নচাই যাব যেকেনে ৰেড হ'ব তাই পেট্ৰলিং কাৰ যেনি নাইৰে জোৱান নাইদে চেক কৰে জো এনিমেল নাইদে আগননি নে বা লগ করা হয়নি নহয় দোলালে বেখানে চেক করা এজন এ লাস্ট পেট্রোলিং কার যে খারা নে যে গাড়ি এনে নাইদে পেট্রোলিং করাই নাইদে চেক দেখি এসে গাড়ি রাবো বেওলাইতে শুনে and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So at the end of the day, when it is night, the tiger has nothing to do. Okay, he cannot enjoy his freedom. The only thing he can do inside the cage is to watch the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes. This is the short explanation of the poem. Okay, so let us move on to the textual question that is given in your textbook. From this poem, we shall discuss the main questions. Okay, those are important in the perspective of your exam. Okay, question number 2, question number 3. As you can see here, you don't have to worry. I have already prepared the notes for you. I want you to write the answering question in separate notebook as I have always told you. Okay, these are the questions and the answers I have written for you. Read the lines from the poem, answer the question. See, number 1. In comparison to what should he be lurking in the shadow? In comparison to walking in the limited space provided to it in the case of a zoo. Zoo no bidire haza bidire na no bidire ne tiger bohi guribo de the tiger should be in the natural habitat, silently waiting for prey under some bushes or long grasses. Tiger was a natural habitat of in the natural naide jinichani guri do boy. This is the phrase. Why is the phrase should be repeated in the poem? What effect does it achieve? The phrase should be is repeated several times in the poem to emphasize the idea that animals should not be treated cruelly. Manuchun nade animal nade nade eto cruelly treat nogotong. Eto hoito nadi dong animal nade, especially the wild animal. Okay, humans should not keep wild animal at zoos by snatching away their freedom. Animal wild animal on zoo bidre notona. Tara freedom man, tara natural habitat tan naide harinolona. Okay, through the praise, the poet makes a protest against animal cruelty. So a poem modi, a hodahano di poeto animal cruelty against naide protest gorette. Stalking the land of his cage, ignoring visitors. Why is he ignoring visitors? The tiger is imprisoned in a cell made of concrete, and he was unable to come out due to these strong bars beaks at the concrete cell. So, the tiger is imprisoned in a cell made of concrete, and he was unable to come out due to these strong bars fixed at the concrete cell. Okay, tiger boy ko zoo tiger boy ko tiger boy ko hazabe dirina de bore toyon, so he cannot move beyond the limited space provided inside the cage. Okay, the unpleasant and restless circumstances are making the tiger having no interest in the visitors. Thes je hoyto dage ta hoyto tar naide dinosaur te manuchon nare naide hitte naide attention dito se note the visitors nore naide jiune naide thare sajadon siu nore ignore gore and keeps on walking in the limited space of the cage. Note the bana naide je sigon jaga age se sigon jaga not naide the ekaka naide huitbara. Why do you think the see question number 2? Okay, before, why do you think the poet mentioned the length of his cage? The poet mentioned the length of his cage to suggest the confinement of the tiger in a small metal cage in which the tiger can barely take few steps in the limited area. The length of his cage means tarze sigon naide haza bodje naide jaga nage se jaga no bebare naide hotte. হয় কইত নাই de bare hoyo ses hoy. Okay, this also suggests the limited freedom given to a zoo animal. Next, the most important questions from this poem. Okay, write few differences between a tiger in the zoo and a wild tiger. Iko wild tiger aro iko zoo thoye tiger boru nade hi difference ese difference ani nade leave lai question ane hotte. So what should you write? A tiger in a zoo is locked up in a concrete cell. As we know, tiger bo zoo bidire nade animal on hangri thon in tara concrete cell bidire thon. He can take only few steps inside the cage. In the poem, we have already discussed the limited space provided to the tiger inside a cell, okay, in the zoo. He is restless and powerless because of the confinement. যে বন্ধ কৰি নাই বন্ধ লাইফ পান হনজনে গম নাপান ওকে আমনি রেস্টলেস হৈ যায় নিজ ঘৰত নাই দে বন্ধ হৈ থেলে হয় একদিন বন্ধ হৈ থেলে রেস্টলেস হৈ যায় এই COVID-19 এয়া নাই দে মানুষজনে নাই দে ঘৰত নিগলি নহাত কিন্তু বেকনত নিগলার ফলে হয় কিনে isn't it? লকডাউন এদে লকে নাই দে নিত্য পারে নিগলার ফলে হয় মানুষজনে বেরিয়ার ফলে হয় যে হয় একদিন নিজ নাই দে নিজ ঘৰৰ ভিতরে নাই দে নিজে নাই দে বন্ধ করে থে নোৱাৰি হানা কনসং তা ইকো এনিমেল বা ইকো মানুষ নাই দে কান জায়গা সিগুন জায়গা থানে নাই দে বন্ধ করে থাকবো যেগুলোর ভিতরে isn't it? This is just like prison. He is restless and powerless because of the confinement. His freedom is snatched and remain disinterested to the visitors. Ta power ni bekani harilo ye ta freedom ani bekani harilo ye animals tiger bo যে tiger bo nai যুদ্ধ নাই দে থই জানাতে মানুষজনের এথায় ইগনোর করার কিন্তু whereas a tiger in the wild would sneak through long grasses to hunt deer near the water hole. Iko wild tiger nitto নাই দে থাকে nitto নাই দে হেন করে উরিং মারিব লামা লামা হেরে তলে জেনে যে উরিং বাচ্চা থাকব গই পানি ভারত সরা ভারত জিও নাই না উরিং উনি পানি হায় এবা পানি হায় এবাও নাই দে থে এথাক ঘুরিব ওকে. A wild tiger would be roaming boldly near the houses with his deadly claws terrorizing the villager. Iko wild tiger adama hore je jar tai nai de jara berai goro hore hore ne মানুষজনে নাই দে যে বাগর অবসর নিলে বা বাঘ নাই দে এচে উড়ি নাই দে হর বেলায় বেকুন নাই দে দড়ি টাকা দামে উনি ওকে. A wild tiger would be roaming boldly near the houses with his deadly claws terrorizing the villagers. In other words, a wild tiger enjoys maximum freedom in its natural habitat. So not the একো tiger natural থার যে natural habitat থাকে natural নাই দে জাগা আগে থেবার জাগা not নাই দে থে back নাই দে freedom মানে maximum freedom মানে থে সিট পাই. So these are the main questions that are important from this poem. So with this we can stop today's video. Thank you very much.